nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call vote.
Commissioner Dixon?
Here.
Commissioner Krushat?
Here.
Commissioner Walker?
Here.
Vice Chair Bahana?
Here.
Chair Mendoza?
Here.
All present?
These proceedings may be viewed on demand on the City of 29 Palms website, www.29palms.com, or I'm sorry, .org. You may also live stream this meeting by going to the city website and clicking on the meeting agendas link. Public comments. This is the time for the public to address the commission on issues within the within the jurisdiction of the commission that are not on this agenda. All comments are to be directed to the chair of the commission and shall not consist of any personal attacks. Members of the public are expected to maintain a professional, courteous decorum during their comments. There is a time limitation of 3 minutes per person. If you haven't already done so, please fill out name and address slips and give them to the Secretary of the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission is prohibited by the Brown Act from taking actions or discussing at length items not included on the printed agenda. Public comments on specific agenda items will be deferred until consideration of the item on the agenda. I have two. One is it Samandi? Samandel. James Samandel, would you come up to the podium, please?
I'm here just to request that you come down Utah Trail and get past the school. There's no speed limit once you get out of the school zone, heading towards base. It's turning into can be some types of issues because during school, you'll get people on that road that are doing 25 the entire way, and then you have people that are doing 7. So I would like to just recommend that we post something past the school that allows us that live down that way to actually know what a proper speed limit would be for us and the citizens of 29 Palms.
Okay. We'll refer that to Public Works?
Yeah, City Council and Public Works. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
No, sir.
Thank you very much. We will refer to City Council.
Great. Thanks for your time, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. And next we have, well, I'm sorry I can't make out your writing, but if you would, you have public comments or comments on an agenda item? Okay, because you have both marked. Okay. So we'll wait till we get to the agenda item. Okay, commission comments and reports of meetings attended. Jim?
No meetings attended since our last meeting.
Leslie?
No meetings attended, but in your absence, it caused me to, have to step in as chair for the evening, and it was a great experience, and I just, sorry you were out, but hopefully everything went well in your absence, but yeah, other than that, no other meetings attended.
Okay, great. Jason?
No meetings attended.
Next.
No meetings attended as well.
Okay, I didn't attend any meetings, but my comments are, wish everybody stays safe and healthy. I know this has dragged on, but got to keep on keeping on. Consent calendar. Approval of the Planning Commission meeting minutes of July 21st, 2020. Has everybody had a chance to read the minutes? Questions, additions, changes, deletions? Okay, is there a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
I make a motion, we approve the minutes for July 21st as read.
I have a motion, is there a second?
All second.
I have a motion and a second, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Dixon?
Aye.
Commissioner Krushat?
Aye.
Commissioner Walker?
Aye.
Vice Chair Bahana?
Aye.
Chair Mendoza?
Aye.
5-0 approved.
Okay. Now we'll move on to public hearings, PC 2012, site plan and design review for O'Reilly Auto Parts. And I'll turn this over to our Community Development Director, Travis.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the commission. This case, the night before you is PC 2012, Site Plan and Design Review. The applicant is Bill Melnick, on for Simon CRE, the developer. And Ben and a representative from the engineering firm are on our go-to meeting. So if you have questions for the applicant after the presentation, they'll be happy to answer them. The location of this project is in the Smoke Tree neighborhood. As you all know, that's the strip on the west side of town coming in. Specifically, the site is 200 feet east of the intersection of 29 Palms Highway and Larea Avenue on the north side of the highway. Project is composed of 4 parcels, area approximately 2.3 acres in size, of which 1.41 acres is proposed for this first phase of the development. The land use designation is general commercial. It's our most broadest commercial zoning that we have in the city. And yes, there is a flood zone on the property. It's zone AO. That's a shallow flooding depth of 1 foot. Here's an aerial view of the location. So outlined in red is the 4 parcels involved, and the hatch pattern is the specific site for this development. Here is Route 62 and Larea here on the west side, so it is on the northeast corner of this intersection. Across from the Rite Aid and I believe the barbecue place to the south. To the west is John's Place Restaurant, and to the east is the Farmers Insurance Building. You'll also recall that the city just recently wrapped up a sidewalk construction project along this portion of 62, which brings the sidewalk here to Manzanita Avenue. To the north is the flood control channel that you can see here. As mentioned, the site is zoned general commercial, which is denoted by the red color here. That exists to the west, south, and east. Directly north is the area designated as floodway. That's the flood control channel. And then we've got some single-family residential and tourist commercial north on the site along Larea Avenue. The proposal is the construction of a 7,418 square foot commercial building. The existing use of the property is vacant, although there's a billboard occupying part of the site. The proposed use is an auto parts retail store, and then the remaining of the property will be used as a pad site for a future project. The project encompasses 4 parcels, 2 of which will be used for this project, and then 2 remaining to be developed, but the access to Larea Avenue will cross these 2 undeveloped parcels. There is proposed to be installation of curb, gutter, and sidewalk along 29 Palms Highway. This is consistent with our general plan standard. And then along Larea Avenue, installation in curb and gutter only at this time. A pull-out bus shelter will be installed on 29 Palms Highway, west of the project entrance on the highway. This was the request from MBTA. And actually, creating this new bus stop moves a very substandard bus stop that currently exists west of John's Place into a much safer location. And you'll also recall when we did our street improvements to the south, the city also constructed a new bus station there as well, bus stop there as well. So here's a picture of the site plan. You have a larger version there in your packet, but just kind of run through some of the key features. This is 29 Palms Highway. This is essentially the additional lane, or what I would call the right turn lane or free flow right lane. Their project entrance aligns with eucalyptus. That's one of the Caltrans standards, to have the intersections across opposing streets to align. There's the bus shelter pull out here in this location. Then there's some parking in front of the structure denoted by this thicker black line here. And then off to the side, Towards the rear is the trash enclosure, and they'll be required to meet our new trash enclosure standards as part of this project. There's a loading zone as well towards the rear of the building, and then stormwater management pond here, and then an area for their septic system over here. This is the access road which will go out to La Rea, and that aligns with the entrance across the street where John's Place is located. I just wanted to give you an example of what that pull-out bus shelter looks like. You will recall when the Dollar General project came through, similar requirement was imposed on them. This is almost identical to the bus stop that they would be constructing on this site. Grading plan, I just wanted to mention the property slopes generally to the north. So almost all of the project runoff will be captured on site and directed to the stormwater management basin to the north of the site before it would outflow to the flood channel. And then as all projects are required that have truck deliveries, they also did a truck turn exhibit as part of their traffic study that was submitted to Caltrans. Caltrans has reviewed the traffic study and did not have any substantive comments. Landscaping plan was provided consistent with our Go Native landscape guide. So along the perimeter, they have trees such as Desert Museum Polyverde, acacias, Texas mountain laurels, shrubs such as Mexican bird of paradise and some red yuccas, and ground cover like rosemary. And then there is a detail of the landscaping plan in your packet, and it is of the quantity and quality that we require for landscaping of a project of this type. Also mentioned the project does have to meet ADA, of course. That includes not only the path of travel within the site, but also from the public sidewalk into the site. Having this sidewalk connection here will link up to that traffic light, which will allow pedestrians to safely cross Route 62. A little bit about the architecture. We had a few discussions with the developer on this. Of course, they have their corporate standard and corporate branding, but we wanted to bring a little bit of our local flavor from our guidelines into this project. So they've incorporated two features here. One is the step parapet that's common with our adobe architecture, and also the vigas here on the facade as well, just above the glass storefront. In addition, typically structure like this, which is mostly stucco, needs some sort of a base. There were a couple of options that were thrown out. One is to put stone, stacked stone. The other is to have a landscaped foundation planting for the base, and they chose to go with the landscape foundation planting. So there'll be shrubs there at the base of the building. This is the right exterior elevation. The rear entrance facing the flood channel, and then the left exterior entrance of the building. This project is exempt from California Environmental Quality Act, CEQA, pursuant to section 15332 infill development projects. So this, essentially this project is developed on all four sides, and is certainly under the acreage threshold for CEQA study. So as a result, and it's not suitable for biological habitat, so as a result, it is exempt from CEQA. So the staff recommendation is to find the project category exempt pursuant to section 15332 of CEQA, and adopt the Planning Commission resolution approving the site plan and design review subject to the conditions of approval, and the applicant has reviewed those conditions. And I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Questions to staff?
Just one quick one. They mentioned that the two other lots, 19 and 18, those two parcels they're holding on to for a future project. They didn't say what that was or any indication?
That's correct. No indication at this time,
Okay.
but I can pass this on to Ben. The question was about what was the plans for the two remaining lots in the project?
Yeah, hi, Commissioners. This is Ben Millick with Simon Sierra. We're the developer on the project. That additional lot, our acquisitions team is actively trying to find another tenant there to join O'Reilly Auto Parts on this development. We have not found another tenant at this time, so that user is unknown.
Okay.
But we are actively searching, and usually development closely follows another development, so once this O'Reilly goes in, I'm sure another tenant will be much more interested in that parcel.
So
Thank you.
that empty lot, so obviously no one's there, but in the plan earlier, you talked about there being an asphalt driveway going all the way through it. So will that impact anyone from building on there?
So to answer that question, we strategically placed that asphalt drive in that shape as shown on screen here to allow for a future user to have enough room to build a building and parking stalls around that asphalt drive. So that's why that's such a unique shape as shown. We wanted to maximize the remaining dirt area for future building and parking.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Okay. Any further questions of staff? I do have one, Travis. On the,
Okay.
I'm not seeing the driveway enhancement, like what we imposed at Dollar General.
That's correct. It's not a requirement, but you mean this the
Yes.
pavement here?
Yes.
Not a requirement, but, could be something the planning commission could consider.
Okay. All right, that answers my question. So at this time, if there's no further questions of staff, I'm going to open the public hearing. And we have one request to speak. Sir, you're up.
Thank you, Planning Commission. My name is Vino Nathraj. I'm from 71809 71829 29 Palms Highway. I am for the project. I think it's a great addition to our city. My properties are located on the south side, and I do know on the north side, most of the properties are slightly higher. And I just want to make sure that when the building is done, we have a problem right now at 71829 and 71809, in the sense that when those properties are being developed, the sidewalk is lower than the finished ground. And when it rains, there's a lot of sand that's washed over onto the street. Yes, Caltrans does come and take care of it, but it takes a few days, and what happens is, when the people leave our driveway, the cars skid. So I'm sure that the engineering department and the city will look into that to make sure that the same mistake is not repeated again. That's the only concern. Other than that, it's a great project. I actually like it. Thanks.
Thank you, Peter. Anybody else? Anything from the applicants? Any questions for the applicants?
Yeah, I just wanted to touch a couple more things. Travis had a great presentation there. The only comments that I had to add to that presentation were we will be improving slightly Larea Avenue. We'll be adding new curb and gutter. The future user will be adding the remaining sidewalk and landscaping on that frontage. So that will not be part of this project. Only the curb and gutter will be part of this. And then just to give you some updates or some overview on O'Reilly itself, they're typically open 9 a.m. or 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. And they are estimated to produce about 10 to 12 new jobs within the community. And truck deliveries only happen during store hours, so there is not expected to be any nighttime deliveries or late hours. And then all lighting should be shaded down away from neighboring properties. So I think this overall is a great project. The building design is well above the O'Reilly prototypes. This will be a gem within our portfolio here. So we're excited to present this to you, and we hope you guys are excited about it too.
Absolutely. Any questions for Travis, could you go back to the front elevation, please? There we go. Now, the question I have is based on this rendering. You've got these lovely puffy white clouds. Are those going to be guaranteed to be there? I guess not. Okay. And anybody else for the public hearing? I'm going to close the public hearing.
Did want to just
Oh,
follow
I'm
up
sorry.
on the grading, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
It's kind of hard to see here, but really the only flow onto the road is just really what's on this bank here to make the elevation, and then once you're at the top of the bank, the site is all flowing northward. So
Okay.
it will actually do a better job post-development of controlling stormwater management than pre-development.
Okay. All right, anything else from the, close the public hearing, bring it up here to the dais. Discussion, comments? Jim? Leslie?
No, I'm good.
Jason?
I'm good.
Max?
I'm good.
And I have no issues with it. I think it's a nice-looking project, certainly a needed project. At one time, though, there was 9 parts stores in this town, and they've all pretty much disappeared. So, is there a motion to approve the site plan and the development plan?
I make a motion that we approve PC 20-12, a site plan and design review for the construction of the auto parts retail store, with conditions for approval,
And
Appendix A.
the CEQA exemption.
I'm sorry?
And the CEQA exemption.
And the CEQA exemption, I'm sorry, thank you.
I have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Dixon?
Aye.
Commissioner Krushat?
Aye.
Commissioner Walker?
Aye.
Vice Chair Bahana?
Aye.
Chair Mendoza?
Aye.
5-0 approved.
Build your building, get open.
Yeah, Ben, I think that's been the question here, is when do you plan to open?
Well, we're going to try and get permitted as quickly as possible, and then it takes about 5 months to construct, and then we'll be open.
Excellent.
All right.
Yeah. Clock ticking.
The clock's ticking, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll move on to our next agenda item, which is discussion potential action items. Anything from the dais? Anything from staff? Audience? Okay, Community Development Director updates.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I do have a few updates for you. First, starting off with Project Phoenix. We are still waiting on Frontier to issue the purchase order, so it's been a few weeks now. The city manager is trying to light a fire to make the whole process move a little faster, but hopefully we'll have some good news here soon to share about construction. Also, at the last meeting, I announced that we are going to be pursuing the Pioneer Park development Prop 68 grant application. We are working on an outreach plan now with the consultants. So stay tuned. The next 2 months should be very busy with outreach activities. We're actually going to start the process by working with some of the kids in the summer daycare camp and get their input on it. And the environmental work has already started. So we got a tight deadline to submit, I believe December 14th. But we really have to work back from that date to get the CEQA done and all the approvals. And of course, just like previously with Knott Sky Park, the planning commissioners will be invited to participate in those meetings. Also wanted to share with you our debrief for Knott Sky Park, which was the Prop 68 grant application we submitted last year. The state would not give us our score, would not give us how close we were to the cutoff, but they did more or less say, without saying it directly, 3 times that we should consider resubmitting for that. So I had a feeling that we're close. They just mentioned some minor deficiencies in the grant application, one of which was the outreach meetings, the 2 public hearings, workshops, 2 public hearings that we had really did not count in their mind as the outreach meetings. They were too far from the site. So those will be redos, and then there were some other really minor changes. So working with the city manager now, we're getting cost estimates on what it would take to just refresh that. It's not a lot of rewriting that has to be done, or planning. We've already got a lot of comment and input from the community. There may be some tweaks to it based on what we end up with Pioneer Park and the recreational facilities there. But we are thinking that we should go ahead and pursue and resubmit Knott Sky Park. This is the last and final round of the Prop 68 bond fund, and I'm guessing the voters will not be in a mood to approve another park bond for quite a while. So we are allowed to submit multiple applications. We're always concerned, are we competing against ourselves when we do so? I guess we're a little bit more modest because we learned that Oakland, the city of Oakland, submitted 5 grant applications the last time. So maybe we need to be a little bit more aggressive in that. So stay tuned for that as well. Also wanted to mention that we've wrapped up our interviews for our consultant for our new downtown specific plan. Diane and Christina sat on our interview panel. So we're down to 2 at this point. One is Down Valley, one's in Irvine. And I'm currently checking references and getting feedback on both of those firms. Each one, of course, has a strength in one area or another. One is a little stronger in urban design, one's a little stronger in the outreach component. And we just want to make sure that we make that a right decision there. And then also today just got word that Flood Control District continues to work on the culvert replacement at El Rey. You'll recall during our last monsoon season, portion of that bridge and road
You're being generous.
got washed out, yes. For the second time. And so obviously what's needed there is larger culvert or a second culvert that can handle the flow going under there. Flood control is working on it. I think the design is close to 65%. So if all goes well, that will be another project that will be under construction next year, coupled with Project Phoenix, O'Reilly's, Route 62 ADA improvements. You're going to just be seeing a lot of construction going on next year throughout the city. And that's all I have.
Any questions? Okay, we have no study session. Is there anything else for the good of the commission?
I will say that we will have a meeting. When's this? Is it the 18th? Hold on one second. Yeah, the 18th. We do have an appeal for a vacation home rental. So, and we, have to hear that appeal within 30 days. So we will have that meeting on the 18th. I'm hoping that we do not have to have the meeting at the 1st of September, and we can use that time and your time for the outreach meetings for Pioneer Park and Knott Sky Park.
Excellent. Anything else? Anybody want to go home? Make a motion. We're out of here.
Yeah.